he saw a fourth person. He knew he wasn't losing his mind. He threw 3 men in there, and he saw a fourth man. And the fourth man, he said, looked like a god. Hey, friends. Welcome to my Christian comedy channel. I believe God has a sense of humor, and we are allowed to enjoy it as we read scripture. There's so many times where I'm reading the scripture, and I find it to be hilarious. And I'm like, who can I share this with? So I've created this channel so that I can share that with you. If you're interested in learning scripture while seeing the humorous side of God, this is the channel that you want to subscribe to. And if you're looking for more Bible study related content involving inductive studies and interpretations, then you want to check out my main channel. So without further ado, let's have some fun reading scripture. Today we're going to be reading Daniel chapter 3 verses 19 to 30. And we're continuing in the New Living Translation from where we left off. Nebuchadnezzar was so furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that his face became distorted with rage. He commanded that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than usual. Then he ordered some of the strongest men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. So they tied them up and threw them into the furnace, fully dressed in their pants, turbans, robes, and other garments. And because the king in his anger had demanded such a hot fire in the furnace, the flames killed the soldiers as they threw the 3 men in. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, securely tied, fell into the roaring flames. But suddenly Nebuchadnezzar jumped up in amazement and exclaimed to his advisors, "Didn't we tie up 3 men and throw them into the furnace?" "Yes, your majesty, we certainly did," they replied. "Look!" Nebuchadnezzar shouted. "I see 4 men unbound, walking around in the fire unharmed, and the 4th looks like a god." Then Nebuchadnezzar came as close as he could to the door of the flaming furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stepped out of the fire. Then the high officers, officials, governors, and advisors crowded around them and saw that the fire had not touched them. Not a hair on their heads was singed, and their clothing was not scorched. They didn't even smell of smoke. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angels to rescue his servants who trusted in him. They defied the king's command and were willing to die rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I make this decree. If any people, whatever their race or nation or language, speak a word against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they will be torn limb from limb, and their houses will be turned into heaps of rubble. There is no other God who can rescue like this." Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to even higher positions in the province of Babylon. Wow, you guys. So after the king just got super upset that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were bold enough to stand up to him and say, "I'm not going to worship anything that you set up because I worship the true God," he throws them into the fire. The dudes that thrown them in got killed because of how hot the fire was. But when Nebuchadnezzar looked, after they were tossed in, all wrapped up and stuff and all their clothes and everything, he saw a 4th person. He knew he wasn't losing his mind. He threw 3 men in there, and he saw a 4th man. And the 4th man, he said, looked like a god. Can you imagine the sight of that? And even more, they weren't even tied up anymore. They were loosed. That's the kind of God that we serve. The same God that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego served. And you see, because they were bold enough to defend and stand up for the faith that they believed in, and they were loyal to their God even to death, God showed up so that King Nebuchadnezzar could see that he is God even over the king. I can just imagine now how much difference that made in all the lives of the people who lived in Babylon when they heard what happened and heard this new decree that King Nebuchadnezzar all of a sudden made. Are we willing to be as loyal to our God as these three men were? I hope you enjoyed today's scripture reading. What passage would you like to hear next? I'm already excited about the next one. There's so much more for us to explore together.